Ladies and gentlemen, this is an article that came out December 31st, 2018. Opioid overdose deaths triple among U.S. teens and children. Wow. Wow. This is something else. Now, I did a story the other day on this, and it's got to be serious when you start seeing a series of related stories. Opioid overdose death rates among U.S. teens and children have tripled over the past 17 years, a new study shows. The study published online and the JAMA Network Open examined almost 9,000 children and adolescents under the age of 20 who died in all settings from opioid poisonings between 1999 and 2016. Researchers found young children have either died from accidentally ingesting narcotics or from intentional poisoning. Meanwhile, teens have more often died from unintentional overdoses using prescription painkillers found in their homes or drugs bought on the streets. These include prescription opioids, heroin, fentanyl, and other legal and illicit drugs. So, wow. I know 2 years ago, the youngest opioid overdose death was, I think, like around 10. So it's no telling what it really is now because, um, this is 2 years later. The study notes what began more than 2 decades ago as a public health problem, primarily among young and middle aged white males, is now a plague of prescription and illicit opioid abuse that is taking a toll on all segments of US society, including the pediatric population. And, they're on that 72,000 deaths. We're not going to actually get the numbers for 2018 until like the end of 2019. It always kind of lags a year before they publish the numbers. Okay, so a staggering figure was 6,000 more deaths in 2016, estimates a rise of 9.5%. Some 43,000 of drug overdose deaths in 2016, the latest year examined by JAMA study and attributed to opioid overdoses. Other causes include alcohol poisoning and other drug overdoses. The study categorized children and adolescents by the following: 0 to 4, 5 to 9, 10 to 14, 15 to 19 years. Deaths in these groups were then classified according to intent, unintentional suicide, homicide, and undetermined intent. The study based its findings on death certificates since 1999. And you know what? They don't always put the truth on death certificates. And I also did a video on they're only allowed to put one thing as the cause of death on death certificates. A total of 89,800, I'm sorry, a total of 8,986 children and adolescents died from prescription and opioid poisonings between 1999 and 2016. 605 among ages 0 through 4, 96 for ages 5 through 9, 364 ages 10 through 14, and 7,921 between ages of 15 and 19. Those were the amount of children that died. Among those under age 20, the annual estimate mortality rate from opioids more than tripled during this period. rising from 0.22 per 100,000 in 1999 to 0.81 per 100,000 in 2016. The largest changes were seen among the oldest and youngest children, teenagers, 15 to 19, had by far the highest death rates from opioids at 88.1% of that total. Of these teen deaths, more than 85% were unintentional. In other words, while some teens deliberately overdose, others seeking escape from the stresses of unemployment, peer pressure, school demands, and college admissions and debt are falling victim to a wide availability of lethal potency of both legal and illegal opioids. While some deaths can be blamed, okay, so ladies and gentlemen, this is just another article that is showing you how bad drug addiction is. And and there's also opioid addiction among the elderly. So this is pretty much showing you that no age range is untouched. None. So everybody from the young and the old are all impacted by this drug addiction, you know? And I believe that. I can remember during the crack epidemic, I had a family member that was badly strung out on crack that's no longer here. And during that time period, I probably knew several people directly and indirectly during the crack epidemic. So it is not unusual. I was reading an article about a year ago that said most people now know someone directly or indirectly that have died from opioids. And many of these folks have people in their families that died, or they have a friend or somebody that they know that's close, even neighbors that have died from this addiction. And ladies and gentlemen, even my neighbors are not spared. Many people, it is the norm to know someone that's either addicted to drugs or they have passed on from doing these drugs. The cycle is once again repeating itself. I mean, we saw this back during the crack epidemic. It's now showing back up during the opioid plague that's going on right now. So, it's a rough thing to go through addiction, or even deal with someone that is doing drugs, because I know in my own family, my cousin was stealing a lot directly from the family in order to satisfy his addiction. And that's generally what they do. The longer they're on drugs, they're going to run out of money. And when they run out of money, they will turn to crime. That's usually the norm. But please tell me what you think on another article about how opioid deaths have tripled among teens and young children. Please tell me what you think, ladies and gentlemen. Please leave your comment and subscribe. Don't forget to hit on the notification bell, and I will see you on the next video. Peace, family.